Newa here. Just a quick one. I'm probably not going to stay too long. Probably not going to stay too long. I just wanted to just touch base on one or two things, really. So, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. You're watching Season Newa, the platform we're speaking to. I'm away from my usual location, but that's not a problem. What is very important is to really discuss what's going on. We must say no to the war that they're planning in Niger. We have to say no to it. I've noticed that a lot of people, a lot of Africans don't understand what is being done. And we are some of the very people who are going to suffer from this war that the ECOWAS. And ECOWAS is a puppet of the colonials. ECOWAS is a puppet of the colonials. Good morning and welcome. You're watching Citizen Wire, the platform where we speak with power. This broadcast is a very straightforward broadcast. We need to encourage every African to go and speak, to go and really raise a campaign for to their governments. The government in all the 14 or 15 ECOWAS states, I don't know, 16 ECOWAS states, they need to really speak up. Go out to the government and tell them we don't want war. Niger is right to stop the French from taking their resources. The French are taking the resources. This is the what. It's not about the coup. This is about taking our resources for free. The resources in Africa is being taken and used by France to power nuclear stations, not only in France but in other across Europe. Um, and it is important we understand that. Now, we're not saying that they shouldn't power that. What we're saying is that if you're going to use any resources from Africa, then Africans should be paid for those resources. Currently, those resources that are being used, being taken from Africa, is being taken for free. Af- France is taking resources away from Africans. And it's not just only France. All of the colonial powers, they are making sure that the price of our resources is at zero. We get nothing. We get less than nothing for our resources in Africa while they use it. And that is not right. That is not right. You take the resources from Africa, do a finished product, then charge Africans for it, and you pay nothing for those resources. How can that be fair? How can that be fair? It's not fair, and that's what we're saying. So those leaders who are saying, "Oh, they believe in democracy," the very fact that 14, listen intently, 14 African countries are being charged colonial tax by France, and they're being forced to put their money, the money they make, their GDP, the money that they make in their own economy, into the French economy. And then when they want their money, they have to pay money. They have to borrow their own money from France. It's economic madness. That is not democracy. Democracy is just a word they throw around to make you believe it's a lie. We need to wake up. We really need to wake up. And that is what we are here to try and say. I'm probably not going to stay too long because, like I said, I'm away. I'm not really at my usual place. But I wanted to just say this because many people, I mean, people are really, Africans are really misguided in supporting a system that is oppressing them. When you talk about democracy, real democracy is when the people dictate their resources in their land. Right now, in the 14 African countries, and many of them, Mali is doing the right thing. Burkina Faso is doing the right thing. Niger is doing the right thing. Guinea are doing the right thing. Now, many of us look at in Nigeria. Why is it that ECOWAS has been silent all this time? That um, Boko Haram has been killing citizens in Nigeria. They've been silent. They've been killing, but ECOWAS did not even look there that way. But now that Niger decide, hang on, this is our resources. We want to improve the lives of our people. The job of a nation is a government is to make sure that they provide for their people. And they already know that the Niger government under Bazoum is not, has not been. working for the people. In fact, he's been serving the interest of the French, going to meetings and all that with them, allowing for the continued extraction of African resources. France has been taking away uranium from from Niger for over 40 years and not paying for it. France has been taking uranium from Niger for over 40 years and not paying for it. One in every three light bulbs they use in France is made from the uranium they took from Niger. One in every three light bulbs made in France comes from the uranium that they took from Niger without paying for. So the people of Niger and the military who are working for the people of Niger are right. The ECOWAS are making a big mistake. ECOWAS must make sure that we do not end up playing. We don't want to be dragged into the Ukrainian war. What they are trying to do, what the West is trying to do, is a scorched earth policy. Because now um, there's discussion between Niger and Russia, Burkina Faso and Russia, Mali and Russia, Guinea and Russia. And the Europeans, the colonials who have enslaved us for over 500 years in our land, they are afraid that they're losing power. So rather than lose power, they would rather set everything ablaze, create a war that Africa is going to be dragged into. We need to be very careful about it. ECOWAS, those who are leaders in ECOWAS, it is obvious because they are being directed by the colonials to go and start a war in another African country. This is divide and rule playbook. This is a divide and rule playbook, and we need to be very aware of it. This is pure divide and rule. We need to be very aware of it, and we must ensure that we do not fall into this trap. Nigeria cannot even defend the citizens of Nigeria, but yet they are going to get the military together and go and fight a war that's none of our business, that we should not be fighting. We should be supporting Niger. We should be working out ways in which the people of Niger can benefit from their resources. Because when you give power back to put Bazoum back, you're putting France back in control of the resources of the Niger people. Let me say that again. If you get engaged and you ensure that Niger restores Bazoum, who is a French puppet, into power, you are handing back the resources of Niger to France at the expense of the people of Niger. That is what you're doing. This is the reality that many are not facing. And in Nigeria, look at what is happening. Nigeria, we are the third largest oil producer in the entire world. Yet, we don't have any functioning refinery. That is not by design. That is not by accident. It is by design. It is designed to have that to be so. We have Ajaokuta steel. We are having to import steel. We have petrol. We're having to import petrol. We have countless minerals. We're having to import it after somebody else has protested. Now we have lithium. Now they say, oh, we must have it produced here. They don't want that. They want to find a way whereby we are going to be importing a resource, a finished product from a resource that we have. That's the same thing with our oil. What I'm saying to you is that the colonials do not want Africans to develop Africa. And we shouldn't leave the destiny of the coming generation of Nigerians in the hands of the puppets who are working for the colonials. I'm not saying this as a hate speech. It is what must come. The amount, many Africans are awake now and aware of the fact that you, France is looting on a daily basis. France is looting on a daily basis from African countries, 14 African countries. And thankfully, four of them are pulled away. Listen to this. Niger, they speak French. Mali, they speak French. Burkina Faso, they speak French. Guinea, they speak French. Please understand what we are saying. These are four francophone countries, and they are standing up for their rights. What ECOWAS should be doing is listening to those countries and begin to change their policies to suit African needs. ECOWAS as a body is being run and controlled by Europe, by the EU, and we need to address that head on. We will not have true democracy when the colonials are coming into Africa and taking African resources at dirt cheap prices. That's the reality. That's the reality. They are taking the you and I, many of us who are in Europe now, we shouldn't be in Europe. We should be in Africa and enjoying the resources, the plentiful resources we have, and reaching our true potential in Africa. But because of the interference of the colonials for 500 years, many of us are leaving our own countries, not knowing that we have the resources. And that is what we're saying. Nobody is preaching anything about hating Europe. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in showing that Africans reach our true potential on African soil. And the only way we can reach that is to stop the draining of African resources without getting paid for those resources. All over Africa, go and look at Congo. The Europeans, Americans, they are taking our resources. They fly in planes, take a gold, lithium, cobalt, everything, and they impoverish the people. It is time that Africa stands together, get partners. We're in a world. We're going to be in a bipolar, a multipolar world now, whereby the dollar is not going to reign. And I want to speak to many, particularly Nigeria. The government in Nigeria, I'm not interested in what they do in terms of who's running what. But what, well, I am. I am actually. Let me rephrase that. The government in Nigeria needs to be understanding that the world that is going to be they're facing right now is going to be a world in which the dollar will no longer reign supreme. There is no point tying your policy to a system that is coming to an end. The dollar system is going to weaken. It is going to lose 50 to 70% of its power. And those who are the EU and America and all the other countries, they are interested in keeping that mechanism that they've used to strip Africa of our own resources and impoverish us. IMF and everything else, they put policies in designed to ensure that we in Africa never ever become self-sustainable. Why is it that we're having to import grain from Ukraine? What about our own millet? But our farmers have been prevented from receiving subsidy because of the IMF, because of the World Bank. These are policies that are impoverishing Africans. But the leaders who are in power right now, they don't have the balls to speak for the people. ECOWAS is a puppet of the EU. That is the reality. We need to say no. We must collectively say no to say no to war in Niger because the Nigerians are in support of the military. The Nigerians are saying they want the French off their land. But EU and ECOWAS is not talking about that. ECOWAS is not addressing the concerns of the people of Niger who say they want the end of the imposition of unjust French policies on the Nigerian people. France is taking away uranium that the people, only 16% of Nigerians have electricity, and that electricity is coming from Nigeria that they have to pay for. Can you see? This is the policies of the French designed to impoverish people who should be wealthy. Uranium is one of the most highly sought after products in the world. That should mean that Nigerians are wealthy people. These are realities that we speak to. And I don't want you to. Oh, sorry. 1 second. So 1 second, please. 1 second. I'll be back. Give me 1 second. I didn't realize somebody was back. So listen, I'll be back in a short while. I'll come back and talk to you back. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be back in a few minutes.